Good day to everyone. Today, we will be discussing about designing and managing operations. The various activities and responsibilities of product and service designs are translating customer wants and needs into production and service requirements, refining existing products and services, developing new products or services, formulating quality goals, formulating cost targets, constructing and testing prototypes, documenting specifications, and translating products and service specifications into process specifications. The key questions of product and service designs are: is there a demand for it? What is the potential size of the market and what is the expected demand profile? Can we do it? Do we have the necessary knowledge, skills, equipment, capacity, and supply chain capability? What level of quality is appropriate? What do customers expect? What level of quality do competitors provide for similar items? How would it fit in our current offerings? Does it make sense from an economic standpoint? What are the potential liability issues, ethical considerations, sustainability issues, costs, and profits? Product design defines a product's characteristics such as its appearance, the material it is made of, its dimensions and tolerances, and its performance standards. Certain steps are common to the development of most product designs: idea generation, product screening, preliminary design and testing, and final design. All product designs begin with an idea. The idea might come from a product manager, customer, competitors, or suppliers. To remain competitive, companies must be innovative and bring out the new products regularly. After a product idea has been developed, it is evaluated to determine its likelihood of success, referred as the product screening. The company's product screening team evaluates the product design according to the needs of the major business functions. Once a product idea has passed the screening stage, it is the time to begin preliminary design and testing. At this stage, the design engineers translate the general performance specifications into technical specifications. Prototypes are built and tested. Changes are made based on the test results, and the process of revising, rebuilding a prototype, and testing continues. Following extensive design testing, the product moves to the final design stage. This is where the product specifications are drawn up. The final specifications are then translated into specific processing instruction to manufacture the product. This includes selecting the equipment, outlining jobs that need to be performed, identifying specific materials needed, and suppliers that will be used, and all other aspects of organizing the process of product production. Designing for manufacture. Design for manufacture is a series of guidelines that we should follow to produce a product easily and profitably. Design simplification means reducing the number of parts and features of the product whenever possible. A simpler product is easier to make, less cost, and gives higher quality. Design standardization refers to the use of common and interchangeable parts. By using interchangeable parts, we can make a greater variety of products with less inventory and significantly lower cost and provide greater flexibility. Advantages of standardization are fewer parts to deal with in inventory and in manufacturing, reduced training cost and time, more routine purchasing, handling, and inspection procedures, orders fillable from inventory, opportunities for long production runs and automation, need for fewer parts justified increased expenditures on perfecting designs and improving quality control procedures. Disadvantages of standardization are: designs may be frozen with too many imperfections remaining, high cost of design changes increases resistance to improvements, and decreased variety results in less consumer appeal. Service design. The process of establishing all the characteristics of the service, including physical, sensual, and psychological benefits. Phases in the service design processes. Conceptualize. Idea generation. Assessment of customer wants and needs. And assessment of demand potential. Identify service package components needed. Determine performance specifications. Translate performance specification into design specifications. And translate design specifications into delivery specifications. Service blueprinting is a method for describing and analyzing a service process. It is a useful tool for conceptualizing a service delivery system as it shows the basic customer and service actions involved in the service operation. The major steps in service blueprinting are as follows. Establish boundaries for the service and decide on the level of detail needed. Identify and determine the sequence of customers and service actions and interactions. Develop time estimates for each phases of the process as well as the time variability. Identify potential failure points and develop a plan to prevent or minimize them as well as the plan to respond to service errors. Guidelines for successful service designs helps the business to define the service package in detail, focus on the operation of the customer's perspective, consider the image that the service package will present both for customer and to prospective customers, recognize the designer's familiarity with the system and may give them a quite different perspective than that of the customer and take steps to overcome. Make sure that the managers are involved and will support the design once it is implemented. Define quality for both tangibles and intangibles. Make sure that the recruitment, training, and reward policies are consistent with the service expectations. Establish procedures to handle both predictable and unpredictable events. And establish systems to monitor, maintain, and improve service. Phases in product design and development. First is to identify customer wants. What do the customer want in this product? Feasibility analysis entails the market analysis, economic analysis, and technical analysis. It is necessary to answer the question, does it fit with the mission? It requires collaboration among marketing, finance, accounting, engineering, and operations. Then, identify how the goods or service will satisfy the customer wants. Identify the specific product characteristics, features, or attributes and show how well they will satisfy the customer wants. Product specifications involve detailed description of what is needed to meet or exceed the customer wants and requires collaboration between legal, marketing, and operations. After identifying what the customer wants and how to satisfy them, the next step is to relate customer wants to product house. Process specification is the process that will be needed to produce the product. Weigh alternatives in terms of cost, availability of resources, profit potential, and quality. This involves collaboration between accounting and operations. Then, we review the design of the product by developing a prototype. Prototype development are made to see if there are any problems with the product or process specifications. Design review. At this stage, any necessary changes are made. Marketing, finance, engineering, design, and operations collaborate to determine whether to proceed or abandon. Market test is used to determine the extent of consumer acceptance. If unsuccessful, the product returns to the design review phase. Product introduction. The new product is promoted. And follow-up evaluation. Based on user feedback, changes may be made or forecasts may be refined. Concurrent engineering. This means bringing the design and manufacturing engineering people together early in the design phase to simultaneously develop the product and process for creating the product. Key advantages are manufacturing personnel are able to identify production capabilities and capacities. Design or procurement of critical tooling can occur early in the process, resulting in a major shortening of the product development process, which could be a key competitive advantage. A technical feasibility of a particular design or a portion of a design can be addressed early to avoid serious problems during production, and the emphasis can be on problem resolution instead of conflict resolution. Production requirements. When opportunities and capabilities do not match, management must consider the potential for expanding or changing capabilities to take advantage of those opportunities. Manufacturability is a key concern for manufactured goods. This means that ease of fabrication and/or assembly is important for cost, productivity, and quality. Design for manufacturing. It is used to indicate the designing of products that are compatible with an organization's capabilities. Design for assembly. A good design must take into account not only how the product will be fabricated, but also how it will be assembled. Design for assembly focuses on reducing the number of parts in an assembly, as well as on the assembly methods and sequence that will be employed. Documents for production. Once a product is selected, designed, and ready for production, production is assisted by a variety of documents. An assembly drawing simply shows an exploded view of the product. An assembly drawing is usually a three-dimensional drawing, known as isometric drawing. The relative locations of components are drawn in relation to each other to show how to assemble the unit. The assembly chart shows a schematic form for how a product is assembled. The chart identifies the point of production at which components flow into sub-assemblies and ultimately into a final product. The route sheet is the list of the operations necessary to produce the component with the materials specified on the bills of materials. The route sheet for an item will have one entry for each operation to be performed on the item. The work order is an instruction to make a given quantity of a particular item, usually to a given schedule. The ticket that the waiter writes on your favorite restaurant is a work order. In a factory, the work order is more formal. Documents that provide authorization to draw items from inventory, to perform various functions, and to assign personnel to perform these functions. Engineering change notices. Some aspect of the product's definition or documentation, such as engineering drawing or a bill of material. For a complex product that has a long manufacturing cycle, such dynamic design change has fostered the development of a discipline known as configuration management. This is concerned with product identification, control, and documentation. It is a system by which the product's planned and changing configurations are accurately identified and for which control and accountability of change are maintained. Process selection refers to deciding on how the production of goods or services will be organized. It occurs as a matter of course when new products or services are being planned, or periodically due to technical changes in the products or equipment as well as competitive pressures. Key aspects include capital intensity and process flexibility. Capital intensity refers to the mix of equipment and labor that will be used by the organization. Process flexibility refers to the degree by which the system can be adjusted to changes in processing requirements due to such factors as change in products or service design, changes in volume processed, and changes in technology. Process types. These process types are found in a wide range of manufacturing and service settings. The idea is to have process capabilities match the product or service requirements. Failure to do so can result in inefficiencies and higher costs than are necessary, perhaps creating a competitive disadvantage. Job shops deals with a high variety and low volumes. Each product has to share the operations resources with many others. Each resources will process a series of items, but although each one will require similar attention, they may differ in their exact needs. Many jobs will probably be one-offs that are never repeated. Again, job processes could be relatively complex. However, they usually produce physical smaller products, and although sometimes involving considerable skills, such processes often involve fewer unpredictable circumstances. Examples of job shops include made-to-measure tailors, Many precision engineers such as specialist tool makers, furniture restorers, and a printer who provides tickets for a local social event. Batch processing may look like a job shot, but do not have the same degree of variety. As the name implies, each time batch processes produce more than one time at a time. Batch processors are used to produce small quantities of products in groups or batches based on customer orders or product specifications. The volumes of each product produced are still small, and there can still be a high degree of customization. Examples can be seen in bakeries, education, and printing shops. Repetitive processes, also known as mass processes, are those which produces items in high volume and relatively narrow variety. The activities of mass processes are usually repetitive and largely predictable. Examples include frozen food products, automatic packing lines, automobile plants, television factories, and DVD productions. Continuous processes. These processes have even higher volume and usually lower variety than repetitive processes. They usually operate for a longer period of time. Sometimes, they are literally continuous in that their products are inseparable, being produced in an endless flow. They usually have a single input and a limited number of outputs. They often have relatively inflexible, capital-intensive technologies with highly predictable flow, and although products may be stored during the process, their predominant characteristic is smooth flow from one part of the process to another. Examples are water processing, petrochemical refineries, electricity utilities, steel making, and some paper making. Project processes are used to make one-of-a-kind products exactly for customer specification. These processes are used when there is a high customization and low product volume, because each product is different. Examples can be seen in construction, shipbuilding, medical procedures, creation of artwork, custom tailoring, and interior design. With project processes, the customer is usually involved in deciding the design of the product. Layout refers to the configuration of departments, work centers, and equipment with particular emphasis on movement of work through the system. The basic objective is to facilitate a smooth flow of work, material, and information through the system. Supporting objectives generally involve the following: to facilitate attainment of product or service quality, to use workers and space efficiently, to avoid bottlenecks, to minimize material handling costs, to eliminate unnecessary movement of workers or materials, to minimize production time or customer service time, and to design for safety. There are 5 types of layout: product layout, process layout, hybrid layout, fixed position layout, and service layout. Product layouts are layouts that arrange resources in a straight line fashion to promote effective production. They are called product layouts because all resources are arranged to meet the production needs of the product. This type of layout is used by companies that have repetitive processing systems and produce standardized products in large volumes. Examples are seen in assembly lines, cafeterias, or even at a car wash. In product layouts, the material moves continuously and uniformly through a series of workstations until the product is complete. The challenge in designing the product layout is to arrange workstations in sequence and designate the jobs that will be performed by each station in order to produce product in the most efficient way possible. Operation managers must decide exactly what tasks will be performed by every workstation in the sequence. They need to consider the logical order in which jobs should be done. They also need to consider how fast production occurs and how many units can be processed through the system. The faster the production occurs, the more units can be processed. Process layouts. Process layouts are layouts that groups resources based on similar processes or functions. This type of layout is seen in companies with intermittent processing systems in which a large variety of items are produced in a low volume. Since many different items are produced, each with unique processing requirements, it is not possible to dictate the entire facility to each item. It is more efficient to group resources based on their function. The products are then moved from one resource to another based on their unique needs. The challenge in process layout is to arrange resources to maximize efficiency and minimize the waste of movement. A hospital is an example of process layout. Departments are grouped based on their functions such as cardiology, radiology, laboratory, and pediatrics. The patient in this case is moved between departments based on his or her individual needs. Another example is the metal working shop wherein resources such as drills, welding, grinding, and painting are each grouped based on the function they perform. Hybrid layouts combine aspects of both process and product layouts. This is the case in the facilities where parts of the operation is performed using intermittent processing system and another part is performed using continuous processing system. Group technology or cell layouts creates the group of products based on similar processing requirements. First, families of products that are similar in their processing characteristics and resource requirements are identified. Managers can then create cells or small product layouts that are dictated to the production of these families of products. This approach brings greater efficiency to the process layout environment. A fixed position layout is used when the product is large and cannot be moved due to its size. All resources for producing the product, including equipment, labor, tools, and or other resources, have to be brought to the site where the product is located. Examples of fixed position layouts include building construction, dam or bridge construction, shipbuilding, or large aircraft manufacture. Service layout. There are 5 types of service layout: warehouse layout, retail layout, office layout, restaurant layout, and hospital layout. The objective of warehouse layout is to find the optimum trade-off between handling cost and costs associated with warehouse space. Consequently, manager's task is to maximize the utilization of tool cube of the warehouse. That is, utilize its full volume while maintaining low material handling costs. We define material handling costs as all costs related to the transaction. This consists of incoming transport, storage, and outgoing transport of the materials to be warehoused. These costs include equipment, people, material, supervision, insurance, and depreciation. Effective warehouse layouts do of course also minimize the damage and spoilage of materials within the warehouse. Retail layouts are based on the idea that sales and profitability vary directly with customer exposure to products. Thus, most retail operation managers try to expose their customer to as many products as possible. Studies do show that the greater rate of exposure, the greater the sales and the higher the return on investment. The operations manager can change exposure with store arrangement and the allocation of space to various products within that arrangement. Office layouts require the grouping of workers, their equipment, and spaces to provide for comfort, safety, and movement of information. The main distinction of office layout is the importance placed on the flow of information. Restaurant layouts. There are many different types of restaurants, ranging from food trucks to establishments. Many belong to chains and some of those are franchises. That type of restaurant typically adheres to a floor plan established by the company. Independent restaurants and bars have their own floor plans, and some have what could have been considered very good designs, while others do not. Ed Norman of MBF Services Group and Company offers this valuable observation. The single most important element is the process workflow. Food and non-food products should transition easily through the operation from receiving door to the customer with all phases of storage, pre-preparation, cooking, holding, and service, unimpaired or minimized due to good design. Hospital layouts. The key elements to hospital layouts or patient care and safety with easy access to critical resources such as X-ray and MRI equipment.